Welcome back to Origami Snowman. My name is Matt. Today, we're going to do 5. Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm bad at counting. We're going to do 6 recommendations. These are sort of like adventure type novels, the novels that you think, oh, what a horrible situation for that individual to be in. Let's watch them survive. I love survival themed books. I love those stories. They just really, the ingenuity, Castaway. That movie was so fun. It's, we can all make jokes and, everybody makes the claims. Oh, I would have done better. Here's what I would have done. I would have blah, blah, blah. I would have, like when he finds the pilot on the beach and he, takes what he can, he takes the flashlight, and then he buries him with his leather belt on. Take the leather belt. That's going to be a very useful item. Take everything. It's all going to be useful. Gross, stripping down a corpse, but still, all of that stuff is going to be useful. I love stories like that. I've picked 6 novels, some you've heard of, some you haven't, that I think are just a good adventure-y, survival-y type of vibe, right? We're going to start with Hatchet. You guys probably all read this in elementary school or junior high or whatever, wherever they assign this. It's a great book. It's Brian, what's his name? Brian, I don't remember his last. Brian Robeson. He's flying in a little 2-seater plane up to Canada somewhere, and the pilot, spoiler, has a heart attack. Plane crashes in the middle of the Canadian wilderness, and this kid is there stuck alone with only his hatchet. That is the only thing he has. And so he has to survive with just his hatchet. Great adventure story. So much fun. Another real uplifting one, Lord of the Flies. Good Lord. If you love survival and depression, this is the book for you. I mean, what a better metaphor for what's going on right now in the world. Let's just eat each other alive, shall we? This is a fantastic book full of just a lot of deep imagery, a lot of metaphor. It's the kind of book that really will stay with you. Again, one they assign you in school. This one's not like a favorite of mine, but it's a popular one. My Side of the Mountain. It's really interesting. It's about this kid, Sam Gribley, who he has a big family, and they live in a little apartment, and they're all kind of packed in, and he craves the open air. He craves like nature and the wider world, and so he leaves. And he goes out into the wilderness all by himself and creates like a little life for himself. And it's a little dated, very dated, because who would ever allow their child to do this? And honestly, in the world today, how far would he get? But definitely a good read. It's not a big one. It's nice. It's technically a children's book, but a wonderful weekend read. Here's one that I loved as a child. I know this isn't really child reading, but it is a child's novel. But back when children were more like angry and feral and needed to know how to survive out in the wilderness, Robinson Crusoe. You've all heard of it. If you've never read of it's really good. He gets shipwrecked, and unlike these other stories, he has an awful lot of supplies at his disposal. He basically cannibalizes the entire ship, gets everything. He's the only one. Everyone else jumped on in a lifeboat and left him. And so the ship gets, beached on some rocks just off the coast. And so he just brings in all the supplies he can, everything he can get off of that ship. And he knows he's only got so long because the ship kind of keeps moving more and more every day in the water as the ship gets lighter. He knows the tide's going to end up lifting it off those rocks and he's going to lose it. So he starts ripping the ship apart and taking the decking and the ropes and the sails, anything he can get off of that boat. He doesn't know what he's going to need. He doesn't know how long he'll be there. And plus, he doesn't really have anything else to do with his time. So that's what he does to occupy himself. He ends up being on this island for like 27 years. It's crazy, but it's so good. It's a really interesting tale of survival and introspection and loneliness. This one they made into a movie. I don't remember if I saw it. I think I saw it, but I also think they cut out some of my favorite parts. The Life of Pi. Life of Pi is a really crazy survival scenario, but also the character of Paiseen Patel. It's really, he's a really great character. He reads a lot of depth into his situation, and in sharing his story, he knows that this happened to him, but he doesn't ever forget about the greater, wider world and how his experience can influence others. He never loses that core part of himself that makes him admirable. You know, yeah, he's been through this. He's got all the excuse in the world to, let the trauma overtake him, but he refuses to. And it's a terrific story. Check it out. Definitely read it. 2 more books. This is a little self-serving, you guys. It is a survival book, and a lot of it was inspired by some of these other books I just mentioned. But my book, The Blood Pines, I wrote this in 2017. It is, it's not a big book. Ugly cover. Oh, so ugly. Somebody actually redesigned the cover for me. Gave me this absolutely gorgeous print. It's up over there, and I should have brought it to plan ahead, Matt. I really would love to use that other new designed cover for this, but I don't know how to ask because I couldn't ever begin to pay the artist what that would be worth to promote my own book. It's a gorgeous cover. This one, not so much. In fact, that artist said of this cover, it looks like it was made on Canva. Yeah, it sure was. The Blood Pines, it's a rite of passage. These boys in this town, they, every year, a group of boys, it's not the same boys. You do this one time. It's your rite of passage. Once you've done it, you become a man kind of thing. They go for a walk. They walk through the forest for 2 days to this part of the forest where a certain kind of tree grows. It's called the blood pines. The tree is a blood pine. And together, they cut down one of these huge blood pines and they bring it back to the town. It creates a sense of camaraderie, a sense of oneness. It makes them all a little more respectful and appreciative of each other. And as they grow, they have this shared experience to draw from, and it makes the community stronger. Problem is, there haven't been any blood pines for like 100 years. So now all they do is they walk for 2 days, they get to where the trees were, they say, we did our best, they turn around and they come back, and that's enough. Well, a couple of these boys, they think this is ridiculous. They think it's absolutely stupid. One, I don't need to go. I'm fine. I know what makes a man, and it is not that. Certainly not with those people. So I'm fine. Okay, and his parents are fine with it. They respect it. The other boy, he knows that if he doesn't do this, no one in town will ever respect him. He will never, ever be able to find a job to support himself and his mother. And he's right. But the issue is, he only has one leg. So he's supposed to somehow walk through the woods for 2 days and turn around and then come back. So he's at odds with this situation. So that's the story of the Blood Pines. What they do with that and how it changes them. Anyway, it's of my published novels, this is the one that people seem to enjoy the most. So available on Amazon and I think at barnesandnoble.com. I have one other recommendation. It's not really a survival thing. It is for some folks. Others, it's just a dying thing. But it's an adventure novel, like a good old-fashioned adventure novel. Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan of the Apes. Very underrated. If you think you know the story of Tarzan because you saw a Disney movie, you don't. It is so much bloodier and so much more violent and so much more jarring than you ever thought. It is awesome. I've not read the others. I mean to, but let's be honest, I'm 47 years old, okay? If I average, and when I say average, I mean I have periods of time where I don't read much. If I average 2 books a month, that's 24 books a year. If I live to be 64, my dad died when he was 64. If I live to be 64, I only have 408 books left. The rest of these books, I don't think they're a priority. But this one, fantastic. Tarzan of the Apes. It's so good. But again, not a survival book per se, but a really fun adventure, action-y kind of thing, if that's the vibe you like. So, all right, cool. If I missed some of your favorite survival books, only one action book. We're not making that a whole list thing. If I missed some of your favorite survival books, let me know. Or if you agree or disagree, I'm curious to know what you guys think of my recommendations. Please let me know. I do appreciate all of the interactions I get. I will appreciate them when they start coming in eventually, I'm sure. So that is all. You guys are amazing and wonderful. I love you all to pieces. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.